হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম এভরিওয়ান। আজকে আবারও চলে আসলাম লাইভে ড্যানের সাথে। So today we'll learn about how to fluently speak in English, and Dan will help us through and give us some tips and tricks of how to fluently speak in English. I hope everyone is doing good, and please everyone join our live if you want to get more information about how to speak fluently. So Dan, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm also doing good, just feeling under the weather because of my cold
Yeah.
allergy.
Okay. Yeah. I think we were talking about it on the other live stream. Something to do with the air conditioning. I think was making everyone sick. So yeah. Okay. Well, don't worry. I'll do most of the talking, so you don't have to worry. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I guess.
Thank you for having my back.
Yeah. No. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through IELTS speaking test as usual. Just focusing on all the ways you can kind of get a higher band, like a higher
Okay.
score during the test.
সো
On Wednesday,
ড্যান এখন ড্যান এখন আমাদেরকে বলবে আমরা পার্ট
yep.
2 তে কিউ কার্ড স্পেশালি কেমনে হাই স্কোর করতে পারবো। ও আমাদের সাথে কিছু টিপ আর স্ট্র্যাটেজি শেয়ার করবে। সো লাইক অফ টু ইউ ড্যান, জাস্ট শেয়ার সাম টিপ এন্ড স্ট্র্যাটেজিস হাউ টু গেট আ গুড ব্যান্ড এট পার্ট 2.
Part 2. Yes. Okay. So cue card section of the IELTS speaking test. In this part, you'll be given a, as the name suggests, you'll be given a cue card. On this cue card, there are some questions that you must answer whilst you're speaking. The difference between this section and the other sections is that you don't have the examiner asking directly, so you kind of have to think on your own and speak on your own. So
Okay, about the bullet
first thing
points,
you want
okay?
to
There's
do, obviously, is
some
make sure
bullet
you read
points
through.
are okay.
Oh,
Some bullet points are given in part 2, okay? So some students
yeah.
just get confused that whether they should answer the bullet points serially or just they will just casually include it in their conversation. So what do you say about that?
So you want to kind of just include them all in your conversation. Obviously, you want to make sure you cover all of the questions, but you can do them. And I would suggest maybe trying to answer them in order, but it's not necessary. You just want to kind of make sure you cover all the topics, and if you do them in order, it's probably easier for your brain to kind of flow with it, I guess, instead of being all over the place and maybe forgetting one of them. Um, so yeah, although it's not necessary, I would recommend you probably try to do that just to make sure you can stay on track easier and make sure you don't miss anything out. Um, but yeah, so a lot of this comes down to I'm trying to use my mouse and my mouse doesn't actually work. Okay. Um,
So as an IELTS instructor, I do get some like common questions from students. They like
mhm,
ask me that in the part 2 when they're asked the cue card, they get this 1 minute time to think about the thing, like think about the whole topic. And in this 1 minute, they have to paraphrase the topic. Is it
mhm.
really important to paraphrase the topic given to them? Does it carry any marks?
So again, whenever it comes to answering questions, I usually find that it's a lot better to try and uh, paraphrase the questions normally. But in this section, because you're just looking to be able to talk about all those topics, you might not necessarily paraphrase them in the same way as you do when you get asked a question. So let's say in part 1, you're getting asked, do you prefer to work during the day or the night? You would directly paraphrase that question and be like, I prefer to work, sorry, I prefer to work during the day. And then you would continue your
Okay.
answer. With the cue card section, because it's a lot more open ended and you're able to kind of say it however you kind of feel, um, you don't necessarily have to directly paraphrase it. So
About
in this one,
the topic that's given, like suppose describe a famous businessman. In that case, like they will say the famous businessman I know, like
yeah,
that, or
okay,
they will
yeah.
say that the renowned person that I am familiar with, or will go with paraphrasing the topic question.
Um, I mean, if you want to find synonyms to paraphrase the question with, then that's fantastic, I suppose. Kind of being able to demonstrate that knowledge is always really, really encouraged if you're trying to pass this test, because the more vocab you can kind of demonstrate while staying on topic, the better. But I'll give like a bit of a quick example of how to maybe open up.
Okay.
Um, so the example one that I've got here is to describe a tour with your friend that you remember. In fact, I might have covered this one on one of the streams already before. I might have accidentally picked a paper that I've already looked at. But first thing is you want to be trying to work from memory if you can when you open it up. But if you can't, then worst case scenario, just make something up or imagine something that you would like to have happened.
Be a good storyteller.
Yeah,
Be
be
a
a good
good
storyteller.
storyteller.
Yeah, exactly. Because the examiner doesn't know your past. They don't know if you're making it up or if it's true. And it doesn't really matter because as long as you say it well, like you're speaking good English, then it doesn't matter anyways. So I would open this one up with.
Okay, we
So,
got
so
some
I'll shake it up a
comments
little bit.
coming on.
Oh.
Like Farabi bin Hai has said us, good to see our friendly neighborhood English hero, Danny.
It's good to see you too. I'm glad to be back. Unexpected
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay.
Um,
Ainul Alam Pulak has asked us, hey Dan, I'm eagerly waiting for you. What is about weather condition in your country? Is it suitable for you?
well, I mean, in my country, in England, it's suitable for me. Actually, where I am right now in Turkey as well, the weather is also nice. It's nice and cool. You know, just cool air, nice breeze. I'm English. I like the cold. So yes, the weather is wonderful. Also, excellent practice because the number one topic for small talk in England is the weather. So, I mean, we're always talking about the weather. So
Good job,
that's
Pulak.
actually a great way to kind of do some small talk.
Okay.
Oh, sorry?
No, I just appreciated Pulak for asking that comment
Oh,
because he initiated a small talk.
oh, okay.
Okay, Naim
Yes,
Rahman has
okay,
said,
yes.
Saran
Sorry, no,
ma'am, how are
the
you?
signal broke up.
Okay.
Uh,
Saran ma'am, how are you? Naim Rahman, I am doing well. And what about you, Dan?
I'm doing well too. It's good to see you again. We had him on the last stream. He actually
Okay.
was like a guest appearance. Good to see you again.
Okay, then let's move
Yeah.
on to your
Uh,
the thing that you were saying about the part 2. Describe a tour.
yes. So the kind of
Yes.
demonstration opening, yeah, of cue card. Describe a tour with your friend that you remember. Like we was just saying, be a good storyteller if you haven't got an experience. But yeah, in this case, to open up, it's a really easy way to just paraphrase that initial line there. So I would say,
An
and again, I'm going to probably
excursion.
change. Sorry, excursion. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, an excursion that I went with my friend or joined with my friend.
yeah. That's it. I was just going
Mm.
to say maybe if I was to shake it up, excursion's an excellent word actually. I hadn't even thought of that one. So yeah, a memorable excursion I went on with one of my friends was a trip to France that I made about 5 years ago. We went round and we visited all of the World War II monuments and the old graveyards. We also went for walks along the Normandy beaches to see if we could find any lost treasures in the sand. Hopefully, not
Were you
find
able to
any
find one?
landmines, I guess, or scary skeletons. Yeah,
Did you
yeah. I was
manage
gonna
to
say,
get
really
one?
don't want to find one of those. Oh no, sorry, no treasure, no treasure, but also no landmines. So it was all good. But yeah, I would definitely say like, and there actually, because I'll break that down a little bit more. Because the first question on the cue card was when did the tour happen and where did you go? So I kind
Yes.
of opened up. You'll find that the cue card has the questions in a very natural order. So obviously, if you're talking about a tour, the first thing you mention is when you did it and what
Okay.
happened.
And
The next question is,
other thing to care about Q card is that to see the tense that they're mentioning, because sometimes in the Q card it's
mhm,
written that a tour that you will go on. In that case, I have to talk about future planning, right?
yes, exactly. So this one is if you're a friend, there, a tour with your friend that you remember. So it's not really, it, yeah,
A
it's
future one.
actually a
It's the
little
one that
tricky
I've
one.
already done. Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky one because it doesn't really specifically mention the tense other than using the word remember. And obviously, if you're remembering something, it must have happened in the past. So you have to use a little bit of common sense, I guess, whilst you're
I'm sorry
doing
that
this.
I'm laughing because I got a funny comment over here. Like, Dan, is that wooden ceiling in your room? Is that wooden ceiling in your room?
Yes, it is. I mean, I can tilt it up.
He's
It's
a
like,
good observer.
there you go. Star of the show, Wooden Ceiling. Yes, that is
Okay,
a wooden
someone did say
ceiling.
it as that they're
Congratulations.
proud of
Yeah.
us. So proud. Like we got a comment, so proud of us.
See, I'm proud of you.
Ah.
You turned up and you're learning. Yeah, proud of you too. Thank you.
Okay. But the cue card also I have to
A
ask
wooden
that
ceiling.
whenever we get any unfamiliar topic, okay, so like we tend to change the
Mhm.
cue card. But in that cases we can't do when we get any familiar topic or the topic that I'm unfamiliar with. Like if I like I got a cue card where it's written to describe about an exotic plant, but I'm not a taxonomist that I will know about the plant or not a botanist. In that case, can I change the cue card or I have to answer it? Go with the
Uh,
flow.
I mean, it's one of those. Always try and answer if you can, but yeah, I suppose you could request another cue card if you literally are totally if you've got no knowledge of the topic. Although I think you find that more often than not, the cue cards are about general experiences. I mean, I've
Yes.
never come across cue cards that ask about something really scary. So usually, if you just take your time and have a think, you could probably find something to answer the cue card with. Because often they are things like this. So it's like a tour that you've been on with your friend, or it might be, as you mentioned, one that you want to go on with your friend. I've
Yes,
got this
yes,
one
yes.
here, which is childhood memories. Like most of the questions in these exams, they tend to try and ask about personal
General
opinions,
topic.
general topics, and like memories that you have. This one is favorite food. Describe your favorite food item. That's nice and straightforward.
Okay.
Everyone eats,
Okay.
I think. Um,
Everyone is a
or
foodie.
yeah, everyone's a foodie. Everyone likes a bit of food, so you can't really go wrong with them. Um, so yeah, 9 times out of
Okay.
10, you can probably just find a way to make up an answer.
Okay.
Which is why I always try and
So
promote learning like general vocabulary a lot, because if you
okay.
can learn a lot of general words,
That's
that can get
why
you
the same opinion is held by me. Like I think that like people get scared. They think that I have to give some sophisticated, overrated vocabs to get a high score,
there.
but that's not true. As simply you can tell it, and like the how far and coherent you are, that's easy. Like your examiner just have to understand what you're telling. They don't
Mhm.
need your vocabs and
Yeah,
all, right? Okay, we're getting more
yeah. I mean,
comment.
that's it. Like vocab. I was gonna say vocab is important, obviously, to try and get like the top bands. You want to be kind of flexing quite a wide range of vocabulary, but
Yes, but
I mean, the
like we
first
don't
step
have
is
to.
passing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
the
are
first step is
topic
just to
related
pass.
vocabulary. Yes, yeah, the
Yeah.
topic related vocabulary. We don't have to like say some sophisticated one like the ones that are
Mhm.
used in GRE and all. No need for those, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like so like if you're talking about something that is a little bit more of a technical subject, let's say, and you don't have the exact vocab for that, then yeah, I mean you couldn't be expected to know everything necessarily. I don't even know everything. I couldn't even talk about every single topic in the world in English, and it's my first language. So yeah, first step is just getting through the exam, which means learning all that general vocabulary that you need to just kind of answer
Okay, we got a comment.
most question
Naim Rahman.
coherently. Focus on
Okay,
everything else after
Naim
that.
Rahman is okay. Naim Rahman is asking us which part is most difficult in IELTS. Which part do you think?
Um,
For me, part three
which part I
is the
think
most
I would.
difficult one.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say 2 or 3 is probably the most difficult because 1 is always fairly easy questions compared to part 3. But I also think it depends on your opinion as to whether part 2, having to speak on your own, that could also be
Yeah,
quite
that's the thing.
intimidating.
Yep.
Maybe, yeah,
No,
because you
for
haven't
me,
got any
I'm telling because
questions.
I'm a good storyteller. So that's why for me, I'll say part three because
Yeah.
the questions sometimes get hypothetical where you have to like give a lot of answers to prove your point with some
Mm,
examples too. Okay,
yeah,
we
that's
have
it. I mean,
got a
does it make
viewer
any
from
progress?
Nepal. Hi, I'm watching from Nepal.
Ah, from Nepal. Wow. Okay,
We
that's
have
cool.
good fan
My brother
followers.
visited once. Yeah, I was gonna say that's like you've got like a big range of fans. Like people from all over the place. Yeah.
we are big celebrities, right? Haha.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We're huge celebrities, massively famous.
Proud of me.
Yeah. I'm proud of you too. I'm proud of you too.
Okay. Naim Brahman is again asks is second part most difficult in IELTS. It depends on one's taste preferences,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. yeah, it literally depends on where your strengths are. And if you're someone like me who just likes to talk all the time, then two's easy. But yeah, I have pickup
I'm
line.
sorry. I'm sorry for laughing because you got a huge crush. See, you have a huge crush over here. See, you get another one. Comment. See, Dad, I have a pickup line for you. Roses are red. Your smile is great.
Oh my God.
Oh my
I was
God.
gonna say I wish.
Bullock is head over heels for you.
Well, I'm head over heels for him too, of course. I mean, I love the pickup line and I appreciate the compliment. And I like the
Roses
little.
are red. Your smile is great.
No, I think that's wonderful. Thank you. I've got some real fans apparently. Okay.
Kudos. Okay.
Yeah.
Other thing that I'm telling the someone who stammers in part two, like he has a lot of stammering, okay, whilst giving his
Mhm.
speech, what can he do?
I think so. When it comes to that, it's mainly a concentration and confidence thing. When someone's got a stutter or a stammer and they can't get the words out, a lot of it's to do with anxiety, which is more of a psychological issue than it is a technical issue. I mean, you can obviously increase your confidence and reduce anxiety by knowing what you're talking about. You know, like being confident going into the exam and knowing like everything you need to know is obviously a big boost to your confidence. But if you get stuck in the exam and you feel like you can't get the words out properly, my advice is always just to take a few seconds, just stop for a few seconds and think, because obviously the examiner's not going to fail you just for taking a second to think. So
Okay.
try and take a deep breath, take a few seconds, count 10 in your head, and then try and recollect your thoughts and start again. Even if you have to, like, let's say you're saying something and you maybe get stuck in the middle and you stammer and you feel like you messed up that sentence, take a second and just say, "Oh, sorry, I'll just say that again," and repeat nice and calmly. Just repeat what you said
As yeah,
to clarify it.
as far as I know, the examiners are super friendly, so no need to
Hmm.
get afraid. And if you get stuck, also you could yourself like make it like ask for him some time, and he will surely give you some time because the examiners are really super friendly. They're
Yeah,
like
just
our
go like,
friends.
yeah, I just need a second. Yeah, just be like, be polite. Just say, sorry, I lost what I was saying. I'll say that again, and then say it. And because if you say it right, then no one cares anyways. So you've seen me in these streams. I get tongue-tied. I'll mispronounce things, and I have to kind of say, sorry, I'll say that again, and I'll repeat it. You can do that in the exam as well. Like you said, the examiners are friendly. And although it's fairly formal, it's still kind of conversational. And if you're in a conversation, you might make mistakes. So it's totally fine. As long as you do your best to calm down and clean up those mistakes after. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Um, but again, first step is just making sure you're fully prepared for the exam before you even get there. Because if you're fully prepared, you'll have all this confidence and you'll feel good about yourself. There won't be as much anxiety. And you'll be calmer just to start. Because I know myself, I have problems with exams. When I was at university, even if I studied
I now
loads,
still I now still have problems with exams. I now
yeah,
still feel like I get nervous, like I be a bundle of nerves whenever I enter the exam hall. But
hmm
once I get the flow, no one's stopping me. Like I
yeah.
don't see backward also.
Okay,
Once I
see, I I'm not quite that good, so I usually have to really try and focus myself once I get to the exam. So I'm quite like when I'm telling you these things to sort of take a second, stop thinking, and then calm yourself down. That's more from experience, not necessarily for language exams, but my exams at university. Sometimes I would just put my pen down and sit there. I mean, the hours maybe is the exams maybe is 1 or 2 hours long. So you can sit down and just take a minute, uh, just to calm yourself. A big deep breath in through the nose as well. If you breathe in through your nose
yeah.
and out through your mouth, that actually helps calm yourself down.
I
And that's
remember my
probably the
time
number
during my
one
O
thing, because
level.
if you get stressed, you can't think.
Yes. Yes, I remember a time during my O levels exam
Mm,
when I was exactly 15 minutes late for my exam, and I was panicking so badly. Like 15 minutes have gone away. What will I do? Like O-level exams are way harder. But Alhamdulillah, like I have
Hmm.
pulled myself up, and my results were really good. I scored maybe A, A at that subject. Like our highest grade was A back then. Now A star has come into the
Yeah.
grading system. So Alhamdulillah, like
Right.
once you
Okay.
get
Oh.
yourself, once you pull yourself, then everything's gonna be all right. Your mistakes are not gonna count, because the most important
Mhm.
thing is that your confidence that you got up from where you like left yourself.
Yeah. Exactly. Like making a mistake on the way to succeeding, you can forget about the mistake quite easy. So yeah, and the problem is because if you let one little mistake upset you and you get stressed and then you can't think, then you'll make another mistake and another mistake. So it's always worth it. Like you said, just calm yourself down because you can still get an A at the end of the day. I mean, one mistake doesn't mess everything up. Especially since with IELTS, it's on a sliding scale. So I mean, and again, native speakers don't always get a 9 either. Like it's very difficult for us to get a 9 because it's just that hard. So you know, if you get 6, 7, 8, they're still good scores. I mean, they're all good scores. If you pass, that's still a good score. But obviously, here we're trying to work for the top score. We're all 8s and 8.5s, 9s. So we aim for that. But if you don't get that, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. So you can still be proud of yourself. Uh,
Yes.
just for
And
showing up,
one
you
thing
can be
is
proud
that
of yourself.
if my target is higher, then could work harder to achieve it. But if I keep a low target, then I wouldn't work so much. Like
Yes.
if I target for 9, then
Yes.
I'll work harder to get a 9. And if I get 8, I'm satisfied with that because I have given my all effort on achieving it.
Exactly. Yeah, like aim high, but just don't be angry at yourself if you don't hit a 9 because you still showed up, you still did great, you still worked hard for it, so you can still be proud of yourself and still hold your head high. But yeah, always
Okay,
aim for the 9.
moving on to part 2. So just some last minute tips for part 2. Those who are giving exams, what will you say them?
I'll always give an exam. So what? So if your exam's just around the corner, then always my number one tip is making sure you can practice these sessions. And if you've got no one to practice them with, record yourself and listen to yourself doing these part twos.
I do
Do
give the same suggestion to my students. Like when they say
Mhm.
that I'm not getting any partner to practice, I said, you don't need a partner, you have yourself. Just practice it with yourself, record
Yeah,
yourself, go through it and see what mistakes you're making. Because most
yeah,
mistakes we make it unconsciously. So once we
hmm
get that mistake, it won't be repeated again.
yeah, exactly. That's it. And then also, if you're worried about maybe your pronunciation on words, and again, you've got no one to speak with, uh, play your recording and then find maybe a video or a podcast where people are talking a lot and see if you can compare your pronunciation to all the words to what they're doing. And you can more or less mark your own work that way because,
Oh.
uh, yeah, it's easy enough
Oh,
to do.
I have another question popped up just now. That is
Hmm.
that about the accent, right? About the accent, we are like given guided, or like we are guided to either follow the British one or the American
Hmm.
one, right? Not a mixture,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Some
No, I
students
wouldn't
follow
do
the
mixture.
mixture. Yeah, some students follow the mixture. They make whole hotspots out of their accent, and like it's really difficult to make them understand. So can you please just tell the thing about the accent, like about like the one who have to use British, all the through conversation he has to use the British one, and
Hmm.
the one who will adopt the American one, all through the conversation he have to like speak in American one. There won't be a
Yeah.
mixture between these two accents. So can you please just tell it so that they become ensured of it?
Yes, absolutely. The accent, like the different English accents around the world. Sorry, I say that the different accents that are used with the English language around the world all sound completely different. So, uh, if you start mixing them up and the pronunciations get mixed up, you will either confuse yourself or you will confuse the person you're talking to. Um, and I mean, there's dozens of different accents you can pick. You can have a multitude of different accents that are from the UK. I mean, obviously, you've got your Scottish, Welsh, Irish, and then probably like hundreds of different English accents. So my advice is always to go for something a little bit softer, like an American accent, and just focus on the American accent. unless you are doing IELTS because you want to maybe move to the UK and get a job and you're going to be talking very formally, in which case maybe try and find one of the Southern English accents. English accents from the South are often seen as a little bit more formal. Even people from the north of England, if they move south to work and do business, will often adopt a more southern accent because it sounds a little bit cleaner.
Yeah.
I
Now the
have a
thing is
northern
that
accent.
like accent is not the most crucial issue here. The thing is
No.
that they mix up with the pronunciation. Like sometimes they say
Uh,
as British, sometimes they say it American. Like often is it's an American one, right? And often is the
okay.
British one, right? But sometimes they will say often and then they will go and say finalize or finalize. They just mix up within this.
Right. Okay. No. No. Sorry, I misunderstood your question. Yeah, that was my fault. Yeah. Okay. No, with pronunciations, yes, because they are so different. Just stick to one or the other. If you learn the American, stick with the American. If you learn the British, stick with the British. Because it sounds messy if you start to like mix them up. It's I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. If it's almost like if you were drawing a beautiful sunset with all these reds and yellows and oranges, and then you just put like a random sort of dot of bright neon green in the middle, and it just looks horrible and it ruins the whole artwork. So make sure you
You're quite
stick.
an
Yeah, make sure
artistic
you
person.
stick with the pronunciation that you choose.
You're quite an artistic
Oh
person.
no, I'm not
You're giving
artistic.
some
Not at all.
good artistic examples.
Maybe I'm good with my words, but you don't want to see my like abominations. If I try and paint, it's not art, it's an abomination, and you don't want to see that. You also don't want to hear me sing or play an instrument because you would need to replace your ears after that. No, not worth it.
Eardrums. Not ears,
Yeah, you
eardrums.
yeah, you need new eardrums, yeah, new eardrums. Um, and you also don't want to see me dance because you just be embarrassed for me. So you don't want to see me dance, sing, play an instrument, or make art. No, none of those.
Those are not your cup
Um,
of tea, right?
no, not at all. I'm I'm dangerous with a paintbrush, you could say. So yeah,
Okay.
not my cup of tea at all. Um,
Okay,
but
about
yeah,
the part two, like some students do ask, like, how many phrases or idioms should I include in part two? So, what do you say about that?
there's all right. There is no set amount of idioms or phrases that you want to use. This is more of a thing you'll learn through experience and practice. If you just said, I want to put 5 idioms into my part two, then, or like 10 or whatever. I mean, 10, that's probably going to be way too much. You would just be
Yeah.
spouting one idiom after another. That's too many.
Yeah.
So you maybe
And
want to look at putting 1 or 2 in, but if you can't find an opportunity to say a certain phrase or idiom, it's possibly better to just forget about it because if you misuse it, it will sound worse than if you didn't use one at all. So try and put 1 or 2 in, but if none fit, then play it
just
safe
don't use it.
and don't use it. Yeah,
Understood.
because it would just sound really strange. When it comes to idioms and different phrases like that, um, they always have a very specific use, and sometimes it's difficult to understand that specific use. So unless you're confident that it fits, you might just sound a little bit silly if you forced it in. So yeah. Oh, hello.
Okay.
So that comment there. Hello with the heart eyes.
Yeah. Tajin Farooqia. She has sent us hello. Okay. So that means the last thing that you're telling, that for the one who are candidates, for them, just take a chill pill and just go through some speaking videos if possible, but don't overstress
Yeah,
yourself, right?
yeah. Especially so, like maybe in the week before your exam, you want to be studying hard, but a day or two before, maybe 2 days before, start slowing it down, and then ideally, um, you don't want to do any studying on the day just before because you want your brain to relax and you want your brain to be able to be in like the healthiest place possible. and the most calm dispositions. So yeah, if you were going to do any studying, do it on the morning of the day before, and maybe a little bit just before the exam to refresh things in your memory. But the night before the exam, I would recommend no studying. Watch a
তো Dan
movie,
বলছে যারা
possibly
পার্ট
in
2
English,
এক্সাম
but watch a
যারা পার্ট
movie, relax, and chill out.
ওকে সো Dan বলছে যারা একদম ক্যান্ডিডেটস যারা এক্সাম দিবেন ওরা নিজেদেরকে ওভারস্ট্রেস করবেন না, পড়ালেখা নিয়ে নিজেদেরকে একদম মেরে ফেলবেন না। দ্য ইজিয়েস্ট ওয়ে ইজ জাস্ট ওয়াচ সাম মুভিজ অ্যান্ড পরীক্ষার দিন আগে সকালে কি করবেন, যদি পারেন একটু পড়বেন, কিন্তু রাত্রে একদমই পড়বেন না। নিজের ব্রেনকে একটু হেলদি রাখবেন, একটু স্ট্রেস ফ্রি রাখবেন, যাতে আপনি এক্সামটা অনেক ভালোভাবে দিতে পারেন। কারণ আপনি যদি স্ট্রেসের থ্রো দিয়ে এক্সামটা দেন, আপনার এক্সামটা এংজাইটির কারণে নষ্ট হয়ে যেতে পারে। সো জাস্ট ওয়াচ আ মুভি, চিল ডাউন অ্যান্ড গো ফর দ্য এক্সামস।
And eat healthy and drink water. If you eat healthy and drink water, it also helps keep your brain clear.
ওকে, বেশি করে পানি বেশি করে পানি খেতে হবে আর হেলদি ফুড খেতে হবে, কারণ এইসব কিছু আমাদের ব্রেনকে কুল ডাউন করতে সাহায্য করে। So Dan, thank you for your strategies and tips related to part 2. I hope it helped our viewers and they will adopt these tricks in their exam to get a good band score. And thank you to you once again.
Nope, thank you for having me on. It was great seeing everyone again. And I'm happy to help.
See you in next live.
Yep. See you guys later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.